We're back again. Part 3. Chapter 7. At least she laughed, said Alice after Philip and Mrs. Croft had gone home. Kind of a laugh, I said. Sounded like Lena. Mama dragged a huge dog crate out into the kitchen. She was packing up the car to pick up the 2 new dogs. Some dogs felt better in crates. Some dogs had lived in crates for a long time. Mama always hoped they'd ride free, sitting in the back seat, looking out the windows, leaving nose prints on the glass. Mrs. Croft let Cody sniff her hand when she walked home, I said. Really? Said Mama with a smile. That's a good sign. Mrs. Croft doesn't seem to understand many things, I said. Phyllis doesn't know anything about children, that's for sure, said Mama. She never had children, or any dogs or pets. She's had search for the words. She's had an uncluttered life, she said finally, except for her husband. So why is Phyllis the one to take care of Philip? I asked. Mrs. Croft had become Phyllis to us, even Alice and me, at least in private. Mama carried 2 old blankets out to the porch and dumped them. She cares about Philip, said Mama. In her own way, she cares about Philip. She just doesn't know what to do with him. Philip laughed on the porch. Philip laughed on the porch, said Alice. He likes us. He laughed, I said, but he's sad. Mama looked at me for a moment. Alice was quiet. He's sad, I repeated, and something sad is happening at his home for him to be with Philip and Phyllis and Mr. Croft. Mama put a packet of dog snacks in her pocket. You know, under all that fuss that is the outside of Phyllis, I think she's nice, said Mama. Good thing she moved here, said Alice, writing in her journal. Mama smiled. You're right. There's a whole summer for Philip and Phyllis to work on that. Mama took the cover off Lena's cage. Hello, Lena. Hello, Lena, said Lena. I'll be gone for most of the day, Zoe. You can call Daddy if you need to, said Mama. How come I'm not in charge? How come I'm not in charge? Said Alice. How come? Repeated Lena, making us laugh. You're in charge of you, Alice, said Mama. Are you taking Cody? I asked. Sometimes Mama took Cody when she picked up new dogs. It made the dogs feel more calm to have a peaceful dog in the car with them. Mama walked to the window and looked out. Philip had come through the gate and was sitting under a tree with Cody. I think I'll leave Cody here, Mama said. They can spend the day together. Mama packed up the car with water and dog bowls and food and crate and blankets. Remember, she called to us, there will be a young dog. Make sure everything is up off the floor. Mama got in the car and was gone. We haven't had a young dog here in a long time, said Alice. Remember? Billy was a bad puppy. He ate all my pencils. Bad puppy, said Lena. Lena liked saying that. She said it more. Bad puppy, bad puppy, bad puppy. Chapter 8. It was a warm summer day. Alice and I moved Lena's big cage out under the tree with Philip and Cody. There was a breeze, and some of Lena's feathers rippled in the wind. Lena slid up and down her porch and peered at the cows behind the fence. There were 4 of them today, 2 mothers and their half-grown calves, red-brown with white faces. They looked bright and newly washed. Lena made a sound like a squawk, a sound she'd never made before. She doesn't know what the cows are, said Alice softly. She has no words for them. Alice peered at Philip. Philip didn't say anything. Cows, Lena, those are cows, said Alice finally. Lena was silent. She squawked again and slid down her perch closer to Philip. Philip stared at her for a moment, then at me. A breeze came up again. Alice, would you go get the cookies in the kitchen? And the glasses. I'll come in a minute and get the lemonade. Sure, be right back, said Alice. I watched her walk slowly up the hill. Philip still looked at me, as if he knew I had something to say. I leaned over closer to Philip. Lena wants you to talk to her, and you can talk to her in private, just like you talk to Cody. You don't have to talk to us, Philip. That's all right. I got up. It means a lot to Cody, I said. Cody lifted his head when he heard his name. It means a lot to Lena, too. Philip looked at Lena, then back at me. I'm going to get the lemonade, I said. I ran up the hill to catch up with Alice. I tapped her on the arm. Don't look back yet, I said to her. We didn't look back. Cows, said Lena loudly behind us. Cows, she said again, sounding happy with herself. Now Lena had a word for what she saw, and the word from the person she wanted to talk to her. Alice and I turned and walked back toward the house. How did you know? Alice asked me. I shrugged my shoulders. Philip knows he doesn't have to talk to us. I knew if he talked to Cody, he could talk to Lena. Funny how Lena wanted Philip to talk, don't you think? Alice said. Lena likes talk, I said. It makes her nervous when Philip is silent. Are you noticing how Zoe is so very intuitive, meaning she understands things without being told? She's an interesting character. Behind Philip and Lena and Cody and the calves butted heads, their mothers patiently moving aside and chewing green grass. We walked up the porch steps. Philip will talk when he has something important to say, I suppose, said Alice as if I had asked her a question, which I hadn't. I had thought about it, though. And there's a page break. Daddy came home with pizza for an early dinner. Pepperoni for me, anchovies for Alice. Ooh. Mama should be home soon, said Daddy, with your new siblings. You really like anchovies? I asked Alice. I do. I bet Cody likes them too. Cody will eat anything. You can't know, said Lena all of a sudden. She's talking more like us now, said Alice. That happens, said Daddy. She's living here, so she sounds like us. It turned out that Cody didn't like his anchovy. He dropped it on the floor, stared at it, then rolled in it. You lost that bet, Daddy said. Cody stopped rolling and sat up, listening. He ran to the window. Mama, I said. Cody wagged his tail. He wagged at Mama getting out of the car with a big dog who looked like him and a younger spotted dog. They were both on leashes. We all went out, and Mama let the dogs loose in the yard. The big girl is Callie, said Mama. Jack is the smaller one. Quite a big puppy, said Daddy. Adolescent, said Mama. Probably a year old. One day he'll be a big dog like Callie and Cody. We knew from all the dogs who had come and gone to be quiet and let the dogs come to us. Cody went over to Mama to be petted. Callie leaned close to Mama. It's okay, Callie, said Mama. Cody and Callie sniffed each other, and Cody wagged his tail. Jack rolled over on his back. Submissive, said Daddy. Jack's way of saying, yes, you're big and I'm not. Callie came over to Alice to be petted, then me. She looked up into my eyes and sniffed in my face. Her nose was soft. I could feel her breath. I bent down, trying to get Jack to come. Took him a while, but he came to me. Jack's the nervous one, said Mama. He'll need a little work. Mama looked tired. I knew that rescuing dogs was hard work. She had driven across the state and back to pick up the dogs from another driver who had picked up the dogs from another state. The Rescue Association didn't always have much money, so drivers from every state volunteered. Callie and Jack had come all the way from Georgia. Jack, in a sudden burst of energy, jumped up and ran down the yard. Philip stood at the fence watching. He opened the gate and came in, walking down the yard to sit in the grass under the big tree. Cody went down the yard. Callie followed. They ran along the fence together. Jack walked up and sat in front of Philip. Philip didn't reach out and try to pet Jack. He just sat quietly. After a moment, Jack went to sit next to Philip. Still, Philip didn't touch Jack. Look at that, said Mama softly. What a pair. Philip and Jack sat quietly, watching the cows move in the green grass of the meadow under the blue, cloudless sky. It is dark. only a slice of moon. Cody and Callie sleep together on the living room rug. They don't move when I get a drink of water and pad past back to my bedroom. The house is quiet. Alice is asleep. Mama and Daddy are sleeping. The cover is over Lena's cage. Callie and Jack will meet Lena tomorrow. When I pull back the covers on my bed, there is Jack curled up on my sheets with the red poppies on them. You, I whisper. Jack lifts his head as if to say, yes, it's me. Then he turns over, and when I lie down next to him, all through the night, I feel the soft rise and fall of his breaths. Chapter 9. Cody is happier with new dogs here, I said to Mama in the morning. Mama nodded. He's a pack animal. He likes the order of it. I guess I'm part of Jack's pack, I said. He slept with me. I saw that when I came in to check on you in the night, said Daddy. Jack goes quite well with red poppy sheets. If Cody loved having more dogs around, Phyllis next door didn't. More dogs, she said, raising her eyebrows. She and Mom stood at the fence on opposite sides. Daddy came down the yard, his white vet jacket over his shoulder. Good morning, Phyllis, he said politely. Phyllis nodded. The dogs need homes, said Mama. Her voice sounded tight to me. It wasn't the way Mama usually sounded. It's what I've chosen to do. I save them. I take care of them. I know you understand. You do the very same thing with Philip, you know. Phyllis took a step backward. She was very quiet. Alice and I were pretending not to listen, but there was no more to hear. Mama moved away, leaving Phyllis looking after her. Claire works hard at it, said Daddy. He put on his jacket. It said Dr. Cassidy on the pocket. As do you, Phyllis, said Daddy. He walked down the yard to say goodbye to Mama, leaving Phyllis just like Mama had. After a moment, Phyllis turned and walked back through the grass and over the narrow place in the brook to her house. She walked up the porch steps, standing there to look back at all of us. Poor Phyllis, I said in a soft voice. What do you mean? Asked Alice. I don't know. Poor Phyllis doesn't understand much of our world. Alice nodded. Almost as if she missed too many days of school, said Alice. I smiled. That's a nice way to say it, I said. I'm a writer, said Alice. I put words to things, but you know all those things, Zoe. I stared at Alice, surprised. That was a nice compliment, right? In the yard, the dogs, all of them, tumbled and ran and played as if they understood all there was to know. And maybe they did. Page break. It was the next day that life changed for all of us. It was the day that it happened. It would be a rainy day. The cows would graze in the meadow. Far off, the horses would run when the wind came up. But the next day would be the day that it happened.